movie time with John DeSando and his friends online. So everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom. He's gonna let you know if you should stay home or if you should go. Might even yell if it's a spectacle. From San Francisco to Long Island. 'Cause nothing's better than a
Hey,
motion
it's Movie Time is produced and hosted by John DeSando. Listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando,
And I'm Audrey Harkonen.
and this is It's Movie Time. Oh, Audrey, I needed you so badly for the movie we're doing today, which is called Immaculate.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any Catholic in your background?
I do, as a matter of fact. Parochial school for 9 years.
Which
so,
means that you have met some nuns.
I have indeed.
All
I
right.
have indeed.
And I've spent 8 years under the nuns for my grammar school experience.
Yes.
So we both are. And I just need to see any nun movie that comes out, because there's something in my mind that has ambivalence about the nuns. And we're looking at a film today, Immaculate, that suggests the Immaculate Conception. But as Audrey and I know, if we think about it, it's really not about the virgin birth. It's about, and get this baloney, it's about the fact that Mary was born without original sin.
That's really the
Audrey.
very core of it. Yes, yes. that
You
is-
can hear how I feel about original sin.
Yes. Yeah, that is the case.
However, it is also about Immaculate Conception. Anyway.
Correct.
Yes.
Right.
The conceiving. So basically, what's the story about, Audrey?
All right, well, I'm gonna try to say this with a straight face, but here goes nothing. So it's a classic horror film set in a remote Italian convent where the plot turns into a mashup of Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist,
Oh yeah, I got it.
and Mean Girls. How do you
Very
like that?
good. Throwing Mean Girls, and I love that.
There we go. So there are basically 4 bullet points here to that describe this film. There's a novice nun that goes to a Gothic-looking convent. She's got a little bit of a history. It's not very interesting. There's
Are
a
you
young,
talking about Sister Cecilia?
yes, Sister
Yeah.
Cecilia. Okay,
And
next.
played by, let me say,
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney,
She-
who is really pretty good.
Yeah, yes, no doubt.
She's
no
also
doubt.
a producer.
And a producer.
Yeah.
And then there's the young priest, a gorgeous Italian man, of course.
I
The
mean,
priest has a backstory. He's a mad scientist. Okay. Next bullet point
No,
is.
wait, God, you're just getting me going. This guy is way too good looking
Oh, my
to
goodness.
be in charge of these nuns, many of whom are pretty good looking themselves.
That's it.
This is what a setup, because of course in anything Catholic, sex is underneath it all. Yeah.
It brews. It just bubbles. It's right there.
And you're right. And I'm looking at this guy and said, come on.
Yes.
Come on, I don't know any priest who looks like that.
Yeah.
Very good. Who else?
Okay, then we have the next bullet point here is we have experiments with dried DNA from a supposed crucifixion relic that leads us to pregnancies gone ghoulishly wrong, and then we have blood, gore, guts, and of course screaming, and that's the film.
Yeah. And we find out a little pure, Sister Cecilia, what's going on with you? You're pregnant, lady.
Yeah, yep,
And these boys, and who are the real devils in this film?
yeah. The priests.
Oh.
Yeah, yes. They are
Just
definitely.
Confirm something that I only suspected when I was a youngster.
Yeah.
I said, gee, these nuns are awfully subservient
Yes.
to the priest, like the bishop.
The bishop, most definitely. Oh, I know.
And I love that in this film.
Yeah.
Because they are. You know, and these boys are deciding her fate.
Correct.
And excuse me, I mean, really?
Yes.
But the fact that she's pregnant
Right.
really would be a cause of concern, except.
That they believe that this is the DNA of Christ. That's what that is just that has been harvested from this relic. That's
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, that's the backstory, the nail.
That's a good one to know.
Yeah, that he's harvested that DNA. And that's why when he's walking through the lab and there's all those foolish things in the jars that are errors and problems with this whole reproductive stuff going on.
Because in my superficial watching of the film, I just thought it was some kind of a spiritual occurrence.
No, that's supposedly where the DNA comes from. So that's why.
So he slipped the DNA in her when she was asleep, maybe?
Yeah. Well. Remember the jump scares. There's about 5 significant ones. 4 of them you can see them coming a mile off. But the first one was well done, and that is when she's attacked in her sleep. And she's held down, and she's wrestling around, and they use that photograph in some of the advertisements where she's got hands that are holding her face back. That is probably when she's been impregnated, when she's...
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
But here was my problem with the whole thing.
Really? Only one?
Yeah. Well, it starts out as a problem and stays a problem until I read the reviews and understand the continuity of the story.
Okay.
The very first 10-15 minutes is a novice attempting to escape.
Ouch. Yes.
And then, interestingly enough, she's getting buried alive, but she's got matches in the coffin. I know.
Where the hell did she get matches?
I know. That's one of those classic horror film tropes. You gotta have matches.
She's gonna set the box aflame.
Well, I thought that was Sister Cecilia.
Oh,
and then we move forward, you see
they're very
her
slippery about that.
Yeah, but because all the young novices look so much alike,
yeah,
lounging around in the spa pool.
They're way too cute. I mean, we had only one cute nun when I was in grammar school, and we couldn't get enough of her because she was young and pretty, and at the time while we were having fun, fantasizing about her, we also. The big question is, why would you ever do this? Why?
Well,
wow.
and her rationale, Cecilia's rationale for dedicating her life to the convent and to the church is kind of loose. She has an accident, she falls through the ice, and supposedly she doesn't have a heartbeat for 6 minutes, and then she's revived. So she believes that God has brought her back to life for some purpose. Okay, that's a good backstory. That'll do.
Yeah.
But the fact that the backstory of the priest, who was the biochemist or something, which is a mad scientist, is just that's just one step.
Tell me what you're thinking about when you say that. What's in his back story?
Oh, he is supposedly his original profession was he was a chemist or a biologist or some kind. So he is already thinking in terms of some kind of perhaps experimentation or something like that, and he decides to use this potential DNA idea and take it one step further.
So when I saw this film, I was very delighted with it because it seemed to me to reveal a bit of of what goes on behind in the mind of a young woman who signs up for this kind of thing, and the torture that she is put through. I mean, I was put through only torture because nuns, the nun stands me up in 6th grade, and because I held a little girl's hand. Now, Wayne says it's because it was a kindergartten, but he was wrong. I'm 6th grade because I held her hand that I was, get this, Audrey, a dirty thing.
Oh, you were a dirty thing.
She stands me up in class.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think?
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, they were, as far as that goes, as far as our maturation, it's minus.
Yes. They were a challenge.
Yeah. And so when I saw her sister Cecilia going through this, and she had a friend, I think, there, but she also had an enemy.
Yes.
And they made sure they picked the ugliest nuns as the older nuns, because it really is a rest home.
Well, it is. It's for geriatric nuns. And here was another interesting turn, and that poor Cecilia gets branded with a cross on her foot to make her lame,
Oh, right.
so that she can't escape, right? But minutes before that, she discovers that same sort of branding on an elderly nun who she's taking care of. And then I'm thinking, now wait a minute, do these experiments start way back when this elderly nun was young? And wait a minute, and this is, again, it's a continuity sort of thing, like,
Audrey Harkonen, people are gonna have to tune
Yeah.
in to WCBE, the podcast experience.
because we're gonna
To
go,
back talk,
yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna go off on
And I've got a
this.
few other nun films that I just wanna mention to you.
Okay, all right.
And it just, it's been too much fun already, because nuns are one of my favorite topics. Anyway, Audrey, all right, so we have people out there saying, well, let me see, it's a bad time of year for movies, should I go see this? What's your advice?
I would, there are so many other good horror films.
Uh-huh.
And I just don't know who the audience is for this.
Well,
film.
I suggest that those people with a Catholic background who have experienced nuns would thoroughly enjoy this, because it will, it will bring the truth to the suspicions they had about these black and white, almost demons sometimes.
Yes.
No, I'm not forgetting all the good they did for me, because I love to pick on how they brainwashed us, for
Yes.
instance. And so when I see a movie like this, I'm just really thrilled. And I say, who's the best? I know Audrey. She will appear. Anyway, that's it. And we'll see people, I hope, in our podcast.
Oh, we have to.
Our high-ranked podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's movie time with John DeSando and his friends online. So everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom, he's gonna let you know